just starting our day here. Yeah, okay. I don't have well, much in the way of terribly exciting news, but I guess maybe we can find some as we get through the day. Anyway, good morning. I'm Stephen J. Carrington. What do? I read books on Mixer. In fact, I am Mixer's #1 book narrator. Now, just because I am the only one does not diminish that highly prestigious position of #1. But I find that amusing somehow. Anyway, this is the book what we're reading, Righto, Jeeves, by P.G. Wodehouse. So we're actually on day 4 right now. We're just over halfway through it. Deliciously dry. I think is the best way to put it. A very sly British humor about a bumbling, probably upper-class twit who's always terrified of being shown up by his rather smarter butler. Yeet means throw. Good or bad depends what is being thrown where. Bet we don't yeet a baseball. Don't know, Tillable Cat. I'll have to think about that one. Don't know. All right. Let's see. Anyway, yes. So anyway, I know there's a lot of people who are the school's out. Yeah, I know. And there's a lot of people working from home. A lot of people working from home right now, and there's a lot. Sometimes it can feel like there's a lot of hours during the day to fill. Yeah, I mean, if you want to share this link with your friends, if they just need some light entertainment to help them fill a few hours here for the book club here, that would be awesome. That would be awesome. You can just share the link to the channel there. That'd be great. Put it up on YouTube, maybe, with a little note to your friends. Hey, if you want a couple of hours of live audio book narration every day, a bit of social chit chat, nothing too serious, just something to have going on in the background while you go about the day. Yeah, that's it. Mixer.com/CarringtonTV. Yeah. So, and also for the next couple of weeks, I'm actually restreaming over to Twitch and YouTube as well. Just, if I can find a couple more people to help get through their day as well. I'll be doing that for the next couple of weeks. Normally I don't, because I just have a great time here on Mixer. But the next couple of weeks are, there might be people getting a little stir crazy around their house, need a little distraction. Well, that's what we're here. That's what we're here for. But book readings have not closed down, Ms. Medusa. No, they have not. No, they have not. They are continuing. We shall go on to the end, whatever the cost may be. Yes, we shall. We shall read on Mixer. We shall read on Twitch. We shall read on YouTube. And as soon as I can figure out that Facebook thing, maybe that too. I don't know. It's all good. How you doing? Haven't seen you in a while. Hope you've been keeping well. You and Glass Inco still got the art projects going. Actually, I haven't caught any of his art streams recently. I see a lot more activity on his social media front right now than streaming online. Maybe the hours is just off for me. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you two are doing great. So much time. The source was 2 teens. Alrighty. Alright, okay. Facebook is a custom URL. It's. I took a look at it on. Restream, and they do let you restream for free to your actual person page on there, which I don't want to do, but it's like $20 a month if you want to put it over to your I guess business page, I guess, for I don't know what it is, which is where I would want to do it, because I don't want to invite like a zillion people onto my personal Facebook thing, because one, I don't really use it, and two, Facebook So it's like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. We'll figure something out. We will figure something out again. Agent wants throwing tables. Throwing tables, like, get on with it. We need to get on with it. Wington, what? No, not Wington team. It's not Winnington. No, well, we are doing a little bit of winning. That's all I know. Oh, you haven't seen him you haven't seen him in a week? He's doom prep. Maybe. Everyone thinks I am, but I mean, I work from home most of the time anyway. So I don't know. Yeah. Could be. Anyway, maybe you'll need to communicate with him by tapping Morse code onto the wooden floor above him there, assuming he knows how to get through that. Anyway, but there we go. This is this is it. If you have friends you think you might appreciate a couple of hours of book reading every day, yeah, send them my link. Let them know on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or wherever you, or even tell them in person. Send them an email. If you think this is the kind of thing they might like, if they got kids that need distraction, if you have adults that want a little something going on in the background while they are searching the internets looking for new ways to bring in a little bit of dosh while businesses are shut down. Wasn't that a Winston? Oh yeah. I was kind of fooling around with that. Okay, now I get it. Alrighty. Okay, I see where you're at there, Tillable Cat. Okay, I see, but I don't have any more news. I really believe that's it. So for those who don't know, this is the book that we're reading, Right-Ho Jeeves. We're about halfway through it. Like everything we do, it's in the public domain, which means what does that mean? It means it doesn't cost anything. If you want a free digital download for yourself, if you're only catching a wee bit of this stream and you're like, well, that was kind of interesting what he was doing, what's the rest of the book like? You can get a free digital download from Gutenberg.org. That's a good source. Feedbooks.com. They're also a fairly reasonable source. I'm sure it's up on archive.org as well. But yeah, if you come across any store trying to sell a digital copy for money, tell them to sod off. And because you already own it. It's yours. It's in the public domain. Yeah, don't be paying money for a digital copy. Good morning, Rose. Good morning, Rose. How are you doing? We're just starting. Just getting started. Yeah. It is a spring, it's a spring break, extended spring break. Yeah. Spring break for all. Or something like that. All right. All I know is that I'm not whooping it up down on the beaches like everyone in Florida right now. That's all I know. That's all I know. You made it. You did make it in time. You did. Anyway, let's see. Where's my book at? Do I even have my page open? I do. I think I do. Okay. Do we need a little recap of where we are? I think we might need a little recap of where we are. Let's see. Wooster, Bertram Wooster, the upper class twit, is convinced that he is able to save 3 different relationships. His aunt and uncle, who are having a spat because she gambled away the business money down at on Baccarat at Cannes. Angela and Tuppy. Angela almost got eaten by a shark, and her husband thinks it was just a flat fish. So yeah, they're in distress, and poor old was it Gloppy? I think it was Finknottle, who's too afraid to ask his this girl he has a crush on, and too afraid to ask her to go out on a date. So Wooster decided to bring them all together to one country estate and try to work his magic to make everyone fall back in love again. It ain't working out. And so it's probably going to be up to Jeeves, his butler, to save the day. I don't know. Anyway, so we're halfway. That's basically what it's about. Basically. Hoping my voice holds up on this one here, because it is a Thursday. Oh boy. So yeah, there's like a day 4 of all these different character voices. We'll see what happens. Maybe it'll be good. Maybe it will be hot garbage. We'll find out. Yes, we will. Just taking a quick little, just refreshing a little page right here real fast. Taking a look at that thing. How's everyone liking that new Mixer front page, by the way? It's pretty sweet, I think. I know, I like it. I like it. Oh, and I was looking for that one there. How do I... Oh, you know, I need to adjust... Oh, that's the little monitor thing there. How do I... You know, I don't know where the live chat is over there. All right, who knows? I don't know how anything works around here. Let's do it. Jeeves, I said. Sir, I've just been having a chat with young Tuppy. Jeeves, did you happen to notice he wasn't looking very roguish this morning? Yes, sir. It seemed to me that Mr. Glossop's face was sicklied o'er with the pale cast of thought. Quite. He met my cousin Angela in the larder last night, and a rather painful interview ensued. I am sorry, sir. Not half so sorry as he was. She found him closeted with a steak and kidney pie, and appears to have been a bit caustic about fat men who lived for food alone. Most disturbing, sir. Very. In fact, many people would say that things had gone so far between these two, nothing could now bridge the chasm. A girl who could make cracks about human pythons, who ate 9 or 10 meals a day, and ought to be careful not to hurry upstairs because of the danger of apoplectic fits, is a girl, many people would say, in whose heart love is dead. Wouldn't people say that, Jeeves? Undeniably, sir. They would be wrong. You think so, sir? I am convinced of it. I know these females. You can't go by what they say. You feel that Miss Angela's strictures should not be taken too much au pied de la lettre, sir? Eh? In English, we should say literally. Literally. That's exactly what I meant. You know what girls are. A tiff occurs and they shoot their heads off. But underneath it all, the old love still remains. Am I correct? Quite correct, sir. The poet's got... Right-ho, Jeeves. Very good, sir. And in order to bring that old love whizzing to the surface once more, all that is required is the proper treatment. By proper treatment, sir, you mean... Clever handling, Jeeves. A spot of the old snaky work. I see what must be done to jerk my cousin Angela back to normalcy. I'll tell you, shall I? If you would be so kind, sir. I lit a cigarette and eyed him keenly through the smoke. He waited respectfully for me to unleash the words of wisdom. I must say for Jeeves that, until he is so apt to do, he starts shoving his oar in and cavilling and obstructing. He makes a very good audience. I don't know if he is actually agog, but he looks agog, and that's the great thing. Suppose you were strolling through the illimitable jungle, Jeeves, and happened to meet a tiger cub. The contingency is a remote one, sir. Never mind. Let's suppose it. Very good, sir. Let us now suppose that you sloshed that tiger cub, and let us suppose further that word reached its mother that it was being put upon. What would you expect the attitude of that mother to be? In what frame of mind do you consider that the tigress would approach you? I should anticipate a certain show of annoyance, sir. And rightly, due to what is known as the maternal instinct, what? Is that there, Mr. Toast Ghost? What's going on? And rightly, due to what is known as the maternal instinct, what? Yes, sir. Very good, Jeeves. We will now suppose that there has recently been some little coolness between this tiger cub and this tigress. For some days, let us say, they have not been on speaking terms. Do you think that would make any difference to the vim with which the latter would leap to the former's aid? No, sir. Exactly. Here, then, in brief, is my plan, Jeeves. I am going to draw my cousin Angela aside to a secluded spot and roast Tuppy properly.
Roast, sir?
Knock, slam, tick off, abuse, denounce. I shall be very terse about Tuppy, giving it as my opinion that in all essentials he is more like a warthog than an ex-member of a fine old English public school. What will ensue? Hearing him attacked, my cousin Angela's womanly heart will be as sick as mud. The maternal tigress in her will awake. No matter what differences they may have had, she will remember only that he is the man she loves and will leap to his defense. And from that to falling into his arms and burying the dead past will be but a step. How do you react to that?
The idea is an ingenious one, sir.
We Woosters are ingenious, Jeeves. Exceedingly ingenious.
Yes, sir.
As a matter of fact, I am not speaking without a knowledge of the form book. I have tested this theory.
Indeed, sir.
Yes, in person, and it works. I was standing on the Eden Rock at Antibes last month, idly watching the bathers disport themselves in the water, and a girl I knew slightly pointed at a male diver and asked me if I didn't think his legs were about the silliest pair of props ever issued to a human being. I replied that I did indeed, and for the space of perhaps 2 minutes was extraordinarily witty and satirical about this bird's underpinning. At the end of that period, I suddenly felt as if I had been caught up in the tail of a cyclone. Beginning with a critique of my own limbs, which she said, justly enough, were nothing much to write home about, this girl went on to dissect my manners, morals, intellect, general physique, and method of eating asparagus with such acerbity that by the time she had finished, the best you could say of Bertram was that, so far as known, he had never actually committed murder or set fire to an orphan asylum. Subsequent investigation proved that she was engaged to the fellow with the legs, and had had a slight disagreement with him the evening before on the subject of whether she should or should not have made an original call of 2 spades, having 7, but without the ace. That night I saw them dining together with every indication of relish, their differences made up, and the love-light once more in their eyes. That shows you, Jeeves?
Yes, sir.
I expect precisely similar results from my cousin Angela when I start roasting Tuppy. By lunchtime, I should imagine the engagement will be on again, and the diamond and platinum ring glittering as of yore on her 3rd finger. Or is it the 4th?
Oh, scarcely by luncheon time, sir. Miss Angela's maid informs me that Miss Angela drove off in her car early this morning, with the intention of spending the day with friends in the vicinity.
Well, within half an hour of whatever time she comes back, then. These are mere straws, Jeeves. Do not let us chop them.
No, sir.
The point is that, as far as Tuppy and Angela are concerned, we may say with confidence that everything will be shortly hotsy-totsy once more. And what an agreeable thought that is, Jeeves.
Oh, very true, sir.
If there is one thing that gives me the pip, it is 2 loving hearts being estranged.
I can readily appreciate the fact, sir.
I placed the stub of my Gasper in the ashtray and lit another to indicate that completed chap 1. Righto, then. So much for the Western Front. We now turn to the Eastern.
Sir?
I speak in parables, Jeeves. What I mean is we now approach the matter of Gussie and Miss Bassett.
Oh, yes, sir.
Here, Jeeves, more direct methods are required. In handling the case of Augustus Fink Nottle, we must always keep in mind the fact that we are dealing with a poop.
A sensitive plant, sir, would perhaps be a kinder expression.
No, Jeeves, a poop. And with poops one has to employ the strong, forceful, straightforward policy. Psychology doesn't get you anywhere. You, if I may remind you without wounding your feelings, fell into the error of mucking about with psychology in connection with this Finknottle. And the result was a washout. You attempted to push him over the line by rigging him out in a Mephistopheles costume and sending him off to a fancy dress ball, your view being that scarlet tights would embolden him. Futile.
The matter was never actually put to the test, sir.
No, because he didn't get to the ball, and that strengthens my argument. A man who can set out in a cab for a fancy dress ball and not get there is manifestly a poop of no common order. I don't think I have ever known anybody else who was such a dashed silly ass that he couldn't even get to a fancy dress ball. Have you, Jeeves?
No, sir.
But don't forget this, because it is the point I wish above all to make. Even if Gussie had got to that ball, even if those scarlet tights, taken in conjunction with his horn-rimmed spectacles, hadn't given the girl a fit of some kind, even if she had rallied from the shock and he had been able to dance and generally hobnob with her, even then your efforts would have been fruitless, because Mephistopheles' costume or no Mephistopheles' costume, Augustus Finknottle would never have been able to summon up the courage to ask her to be his. All that would have resulted would have been that she would have got that lecture on newts a few days earlier. And why, Jeeves? Shall I tell you why?
Yes, sir.
Because he would have been attempting the hopeless task of trying to do the thing on orange juice.
Sir?
Gussie is an orange juice addict. He drinks nothing else.
I was not aware of that, sir.
I have it from his own lips, whether from some hereditary taint, or because he promised his mother he wouldn't, or simply because he doesn't like the taste of the stuff. Gussie Finknottle has never, in the whole course of his career, pushed so much as the simplest gin and tonic over the larynx. And he expects, Jeeves, this wobbling, shrinking, diffident rabbit in human shape, expects, under these conditions, to propose to the girl he loves. One hardly knows whether to smile or weep, what?
You consider total abstinence a handicap to a gentleman who wishes to make a proposal of marriage, sir?
The question amazed me. Why, dash it, I said, astounded, you must know it is. Use your intelligence, Jeeves. Reflect what proposing means. It means that a decent, self-respecting chap has got to listen to himself saying things which, if spoken on the silver screen, would cause him to dash to the box office and demand his money back. Let him attempt to do it on orange juice, and what ensues? Shame seals his lips, or if it doesn't do that, makes him lose his morale and start to babble. Gussie, for example, as we have seen, babbles of syncopated newts.
Palmated newts, sir.
Palmated or syncopated, it doesn't matter which. The point is that he babbles, and is going to babble again, and if he has another try at it... Unless, and this is where I want you to follow me very closely, Jeeves, unless steps are taken at once through the proper channels. Only active measures, promptly applied, can provide this poor pusillanimous, oh boy. Only active measures, promptly applied, can provide this poor pusillanimous poop with the proper pep. And that is why, Jeeves, I intend tomorrow to secure a bottle of gin and lace his luncheon orange juice with it liberally.
Sir?
I clicked the tongue. I have already had occasion, Jeeves, I said rebukingly, to comment on the way you say, well, sir, and indeed, sir. I take this opportunity of informing you that I object equally strongly to your, sir, pure and simple. The word seems to suggest that, in your opinion, I have made a statement or mooted a scheme so bizarre that your brain reels at it. In the present instance, there is absolutely nothing to say, sir, about. The plan I have put forward is entirely reasonable and icily logical, and should excite no stirring whatsoever. Or don't you think so?
Well, sir.
Jeeves?
I beg your pardon, sir. The expression escaped me inadvertently. What I intended to say, since you pressed me, was that the action which you propose does seem to me somewhat injudicious.
Injudicious? I don't follow you, Jeeves.
A certain amount of risk would enter into it, in my opinion, sir. It is not always a simple matter to gauge the effect of alcohol on a subject unaccustomed to such stimulant. I have known it to have a distressing result in the case of Parrots.
Parrots?
I was thinking of an incident of my earlier life, sir, before I entered your employment. I was in the service of the late Lord Brancaster at the time, a gentleman who owned a parrot to which he was greatly devoted, and one day the bird chanced to be lethargic, and his lordship, with the kindly intention of restoring it to its customary animation, offered it a portion of seed cake steeped in the 84 port. The bird accepted the morsel gratefully and consumed it with every indication of satisfaction. Almost immediately afterwards, however, its manner became markedly feverish. Having bitten his lordship in the thumb, and sung part of a sea chanty, it fell to the bottom of the cage, and remained there for a considerable period of time with his legs in the air, unable to move. I merely mention this, sir, in order to—
I put my finger on the floor. I had spotted it all along. But Gussie isn't a parrot.
No, sir, but—
It is high time, in my opinion, that this question of what young Gussie really is was threshed out and cleared up. He seems to think he is a male newt, and you now appear to suggest that he is a parrot. The truth of the matter being that he is just a plain, ordinary poop, and needs a snootful as badly as ever man did. So no more discussion, Jeeves. My mind is made up. There is only one way of handling this difficult case, and that is the way I have outlined.
Very good, sir.
Right-o, Jeeves. So much for that, then. Now, here's something else. You noticed that I said I was going to put this project through tomorrow, and no doubt you wondered why I said tomorrow. Why did I, Jeeves?
Because you feel that if it were done when 'tis done, then it were done quickly, sir.
Partly, Jeeves, but not altogether. My chief reason for fixing the date as specified is that tomorrow, though you have doubtless forgotten, is the day of the distribution of prizes at Market Snodsbury Grammar School, at which, as you know, Gussie is to be the male star and master of the revels. So you see, we shall, by lacing that juice, not only embolden him to propose to Miss Bassett, but also put him so into shape that he will hold that Market Snodsbury audience spellbound.
In fact, you will be killing two birds with one stone, sir.
Exactly. A very neat way of putting it. And now here is a minor point. On second thoughts, I think the best plan will be for you— not me— to lace the juice.
Sir?
Jeeves?
I beg your pardon, sir.
And I'll tell you why. That will be the best plan, because you are in a position to obtain ready access to the stuff. It is served to Gussie daily, I have noticed, in an individual jug. This jug will presumably be lying about the kitchen or somewhere before lunch tomorrow. It will be the simplest of tasks for you to slip a few fingers of gin into it.
Oh, no doubt, sir, but—
Don't say but, Jeeves.
I fear, sir—
I fear, sir, is just as bad.
What I am endeavoring to say, sir, is that I am sorry, but I am afraid I must enter an unequivocal nolle prosequi. Do what? The expression is a legal one, sir, signifying the resolve not to proceed with a matter. In other words, eager though I am to carry out your instructions, sir, as a general rule, on this occasion I must respectfully decline to cooperate.
You won't do it, you mean?
Precisely, sir.
I was stunned. I began to understand how a general must feel when he has ordered a regiment to charge and has been told that it isn't in the mood. Jeeves, I said, I had not expected this of you.
No, sir.
No, indeed. Naturally, I realize that lacing Gussie's orange juice is not one of those regular duties for which you receive the monthly stipend, and if you care to stand on the strict letter of the contract, I suppose there is nothing to be done about it. But you will permit me to observe that this is scarcely the feudal spirit.
I am sorry, sir.
It's quite all right, Jeeves, quite all right. I'm not angry. Only a little hurt.
Very good, sir.
Right-o, Jeeves. All right, let's back up a second. I gotta catch up with chat. Man, this Bertram Wooster's such an idiot. All right. It is good. All right. So, it's just a weird way of thinking. A very weird way. Rose Morati says, I missed my member page for you. What exactly did you... I don't quite understand that, Rose, so if you can clarify. Or Orgon joined us. Hey, Orgon, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Good to see you. Yeah. We're off to an okay start. We're doing okay. Let's see. Where are they? It just doesn't show anything. I don't know. Who knows where these numbers are? I can't tell. All right. Anyway, when you were gifted the sub. Oh, yes. 1 second. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Okay, so over on Discord, here is our Discord page. Good morning, SoCal Aussie. Yes. I'm assuming you have Discord, Rose. If you join, the Discord, okay, you can link your Mixer. You can link your Discord account to your Mixer account, and then you will see the super secret section in the Discord. But that's where the Discord is, and there we go. Wow, Orgon's getting. Oh, he's liking those new emojis. They're very yellow. Did they put the shades in? What's up with the SoCal Aussie? How you doing, man? Oh, he's lurking. Okay. Alrighty. Can you change the shading of the smileys? You know what I mean? You can do that on some things there. You can lighten them up or darken them down, depending on preference. Doesn't look like it, but I don't know for sure. You don't think you can yet? All right. Still, I mean, it's nice having some big old smileys. It's definitely taken a bit of getting used to them, though. They definitely do look a little different from the other ones. Alrighty. So here we go. Just we'll get back to it in just a second. Oh my lord. Ay. What is this? This busy bee. Oh, that's for the bee thing. Yeah. All right. Let's a couple more sips of coffee and we'll get right back into it. Just a little reminder: if you are enjoying the stream, if you think your friends might like it, if you're in that whole like school's out situation, if you're doing that working from home thing, which millions of people are doing right now. Or if you have friends that are, maybe you think they might like some kind of light entertainment like this to help while away the day. Yeah, let them know about the stream via Facebook or Twitter or Instagram, however you want to do it there. Mixer.com/GarringtonTV, and or even in email, maybe text it to a friend. I don't know. It's all good. We're trying to expand our reach just for the next couple of weeks. And which is why I'm also restreaming over to Twitch and YouTube right now, which I normally don't do. But I just think there might be some, we're just expanding that reach to try and keep a few more people entertained till, while we head on down to the Winchester, have a pint, and wait for the whole thing to blow over, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Alrighty. Okay, Rose Morales is connected. Nice. And so you should be able to see that. Yeah. So, I'm working my way through. There's two sections in there. One is the basic section where I upload short stories. I'm working on 51 Tales by Lord Dunsany. That's what it's actually called. And so I've uploaded 11 of them. I'll be uploading more of them this week. 11 of them so far, and then in the there's another section there which has a link. Actually, I need to put a fuller description into it, which links to a cloud account I have, which has even more. It has audio books and e-books, and it's just some more entertainment and the like. Very good. Galen's such a cool cat. Man, I'm very glad I met him. I think probably 3 months ago, maybe, on here on Mixer. Apparently, he used to stream elsewhere and is relatively new here. Mix is very lucky to have just a. He's a talented artist, but not only that, he's just a great streamer as well. Yeah. So I'm very glad he made his way over here. And I'm glad that he introduced you to us here. Yeah. We do gaming in the evening as well, right? Tonight we're continuing with one of the Telltale series, and then probably popping into some Gears, and then we also do some other stuff here as well. All right. Let's see. Just a quick little check on. Taking a quick little peek at my social media stuff, and then we're going to hop right back on into it. Get through some more chapters. See what's going on. I need to. Yeah, I need to get a handle on my social media stuff, because I don't know how anything works. I don't know how it works. What's going on? Let's see. I can. I can like that. Boom. And then I can like it as this thing right here. Very good. All right. Let's see. I lost my book. Where's my book gone? There it is. Got it. Found it. Okay. Chapter 14. Okay. This is I really want to see the TV series of this now. The 90s one with Hugh Laurie and Stephen Fry. I just read about that a little earlier today. But here we go. Back to it once more, into the breach. You can't. Okay, I'm not sure why. Taco Bella. I'll talk to you later. Because if it's, you should be able to have access to everything. I don't know why. Yeah. So if anyone's having trouble with the super secret section, I'll try to help you out after the stream. All right. But yeah, I'm not sure what would be up with that. Okay. Investigation proved that the friends Angela had gone to spend the day with were some stately homeowners of the name of Stretchley Budd, hanging out in a joint called Kingham Manor, about 8 miles distant in the direction of Perthshire. I don't know these birds, but their fascination must have been considerable, for she tore herself away from them only just in time to get back and dress for dinner. It was accordingly not until coffee had been consumed that I was able to get matters moving. I found her in the drawing-room and at once proceeded to put things in train. It was with very different feelings from those which had animated the bosom when approaching the Bassett 24 hours before, in the same manner, in the same drawing-room, that I headed... What? That doesn't make sense. It was with very different feelings from those which had animated the bosom when approaching the Bassett 24 hours before, in the same manner, in the same drawing-room, that I headed for where she sat. As I had told Tuppy, I have always been devoted to Angela, and there is nothing I like better than a ramble in her company, and I could see by the look of her now how sorely in need she was of my aid and comfort. Frankly, I was shocked by the unfortunate young prune's appearance. At Cannes she had been a happy, smiling English girl of the best type, full of beans and buck. Her face now was pale and drawn, like that of a hockey centre forward at a girls' school, who, in addition to getting a fruity one on the shin, has just been penalized for sticks. In any normal gathering, her demeanour would have excited instant remark, but the standard of gloom at Brinkley Court had become so high that it passed unnoticed. Indeed, I shouldn't wonder if Uncle Tom, crouched in his corner, waiting for the end, didn't think she was looking indecently cheerful. I got down to the agenda in my debonair way. "What-o, Angela, old girl?"
"Hello, Bertie, darling."
"Glad you're back at last. I missed you."
"Oh, did you, darling?"
"I did indeed.
Care to come for a saunter?" "I'd love it."
Fine. I've much to say to you that's not for the public ear." I think at this moment poor old Tuppy must have gotten a sudden touch of cramp. He had been sitting hard by, staring at the ceiling, and he now gave a sharp leap like a gaffed salmon, and upset a small table containing a vase, a bowl of potpourri, 2 china dogs, and a copy of Omar Khayyam, bound in limp leather. Aunt Dahlia uttered a startled hunting cry. Uncle Tom, who probably imagined from the noise that this was civilization crashing at last, helped things along by breaking a coffee cup. Tuppy said he was sorry. Aunt Dahlia, with a deathbed groan, said it didn't matter. And Angela, having stared haughtily for a moment like a princess of the old regime, confronted by some notable example of gaucherie on the part of some particularly foul member of the underworld, accompanied me across the threshold. And presently I had deposited her and self on one of the rustic benches in the garden, and was ready to snap into the business of the evening. I considered it best, however, before doing so, to ease things along with a little informal chit-chat. You don't want to rush a delicate job like the one I had in hand, and so for a while we spoke of neutral topics. She said that what had kept her so long at the Stretchley Budds was that Hilda Stretchley Budd had made her stop on and help with the arrangements for their servants' ball tomorrow night, a task which she couldn't very well decline, as all the Brinkley Court domestic staff were to be present. I said that a jolly night's revelry might be just what was needed to cheer Anatole up and take his mind off things, to which he replied that Anatole wasn't going. On being urged to do so by Aunt Dahlia, she said he had merely shaken his head sadly and gone on talking of returning to Provence, where he was appreciated. It was after the sombre silence induced by this statement that Angela said the grass was wet, and she thought she would go in. This, of course, was entirely foreign to my policy. No, don't do that. I haven't had a chance to talk to you since you arrived."
"I shall ruin my shoes."
"Put your feet up on my lap."
"All right, and you can tickle my ankles."
"Quite." Matters were accordingly arranged on these lines, and for some minutes we continued chatting in desultory fashion. Then the conversation petered out. I made a few observations in the scenic effects, featuring the twilight hush, the peeping stars, and the soft glimmer of the waters of the lake, and she said yes. Something rustled in the bushes in front of us, and I advanced the theory that it was possibly a weasel, and she said it might be.
But it was plain that the girl was distrait, and I considered it best to waste no more time. "Well, old thing," I said, "I've heard all about your little dust-up. So those wedding bells are not going to ring out, what?" "No." "Definitely over, is it?" "Yes." "Well, if you want my opinion, I think that's a bit of goose for you, Angela, old girl. I think you're extremely well out of it. It's a mystery to me how you stood this glossop so long. Take him for all in all, he ranks very low down among the wines and spirits. A washout, I should describe him as, a frightful oik, and a massive side to boot. I'd pity the girl who was linked for life to a barget like Tuppy Glossop." And I emitted a hard laugh, one of the sneering kind. "I always thought you were such friends," said Angela. I let go another hard one, with a bit more topspin on it than the first time. "Friends? Absolutely not. One was civil, of course, when one met the fellow, but it would be absurd to say that one was a friend of his. A club acquaintance, and a mere one at that. And then one was at school with the man." "At Eton?" "Good heavens, no. We wouldn't have a fellow like that at Eton. At a kids' school before I went there. A grubby little brute he was, I recollect. Covered with ink and mire generally, washing only on alternate Thursdays. In short, a no-table outsider, shunned by all." I paused. I was more than a bit perturbed, apart from the agony of having to talk in this fashion of one who, except when he was looping back rings and causing me to plunge into swimming baths in correct evening costume, had always been a very dear and esteemed crony. I didn't seem to be getting anywhere. Business was not resulting. Staring into the bushes without a yip, she appeared to be bearing these slurs and innuendos of mine with an easy calm. I had another pop at it. "Uncouth about sums it up. I doubt if I've ever seen an uncouther kid than this Glossop. Ask anyone who knew him in those days to describe him in a word, and the word they will use is uncouth. And he's just the same today. It's the old story. The boy is the father of the man." She appeared not to have heard. "The boy," I repeated, not wishing her to miss that one, "is the father of the man." "What are you talking about?" "I'm talking about this Glossop." "I thought you said something about somebody's father." "I said the boy was the father of the man." "What boy?" "The boy Glossop." "He hasn't got a father." "I never said he had. I said he was the father of the boy, or rather of the man." "What man?" I saw that the conversation had reached a point where, unless care was taken, we should be muddled. "The point I am trying to make," I said, "is that the boy Glossop is the father of the man Glossop. In other words, each loathsome fault and blemish that led the boy Glossop to be frowned upon by his fellows is present in the man Glossop, and causes him, I'm now speaking of the man Glossop, to be a hissing and a byword at places like the Drones, where a certain standard of decency is demanded from the inmates. Ask anyone at the Drones, and they will tell you that it was a black day for the dear old club when this chap Glossop somehow wriggled into the list of members. Here you will find a man who dislikes his face. There, one who could stand his face if it wasn't for his habits. But the universal consensus of opinion is that the fellow is a bounder and a tick.
and that the moment he showed signs of wanting to get into the place, he should have been met with a firm nol prosequi and heartily blackballed. I had to pause again here, partly in order to take in a spot of breath, and partly to wrestle with the almost physical torture of saying these frightful things about poor old Tuppy. "There are some chaps," I resumed, forcing myself once more to the nauseous task, "who, in spite of looking as if they had slept in their clothes, can get by quite nicely because they are amiable and suave. There are others who, for all that they excite adverse comment by being fat and uncouth, find themselves on the credit side of the ledger owing to their wit and sparkling humour. But this Glossop, I regret to say, falls into neither class. In addition to looking like one of those things that come out of hollow trees, he is universally admitted to be a dumb brick of the first water. No soul, no conversation. In short, any girl who, having been rash enough to get engaged to him, has managed at the 11th hour to slide out, is justly entitled to consider herself dashed lucky." Big old sip of coffee. I paused once more, and cocked an eye at Angela to see how the treatment was taking. All the while I had been speaking, she had sat gazing silently into the bushes, but it seemed to me incredible that she should not now turn on me like a tigress, according to specifications. It beat me why she hadn't done it already. It seemed to me that a mere tithe of what I had said, if said to a tigress about a tiger of which she was fond, would have made her, the tigress I mean, hit the ceiling. And the next moment you could have knocked me down with a toothpick. "Yes," she said, nodding thoughtfully. "You're quite right." "Eh?" "That's exactly what I've been thinking myself." "What?" "A dumb brick. It just describes him. One of the 6 silliest asses in England, I think he must be." I did not speak. I was endeavoring to adjust the faculties which were in urgent need of a bit of first-aid treatment. I mean to say, all this had come as a complete surprise. In formulating the well-laid plan, which I had just been putting into effect, the one contingency I had not budgeted for was that she might adhere to the sentiments which I expressed. I had braced myself for a gush of stormy emotion. I was expecting the tearful ticking off, the girlish recriminations, and all the rest of the bag of tricks along those lines. But this cordial agreement with my remarks I had not foreseen, and it gave me what you might call pause for thought. She proceeded to develop her theme, speaking in ringing, enthusiastic tones as if she loved the topic. Jeeves could tell you the word I want. I think it's ecstatic, unless that's the sort of rash you get on your face and have to use ointment for. But if that is the right word, then that's what her manner was as she ventilated the subject of poor old Tuppy. Sup eclectic, Kate? If you had been able to go simply by the sound of her voice, she might have been a court poet, cutting loose about an oriental monarch, or Gussie Fink Nottle describing his last consignment of newts.
"It's so nice, Bertie, talking to somebody who really takes a sensible view about this man Glossop. Mother says he's a good chap, which is simply absurd. Anybody can see that he's absolutely impossible. He's conceited and opinionative and argues all the time, even when he knows perfectly well that he's talking through his hat. And he smokes too much and eats too much and drinks too much, and I don't like the color of his hair. Not that he'll have any hair in a year or two, because he's pretty thin on the top already, and before he knows where he is he'll be as bald as an egg, and he's the last man who can afford to go bald. And I think it's simply disgusting the way he gorges all the time. Do you know, I found him in the larder at 1 o'clock this morning, absolutely wallowing in a steak and kidney pie. There was hardly any of it left. And you remember what an enormous dinner he had. Quite disgusting, I call it. But I can't stop out here all night, talking about men who aren't worth wasting a word on, and haven't even enough sense to tell sharks from flatfish. I'm going in. And gathering about her slim shoulders the shawl which she had put on as a protection against the evening dew, she buzzed off, leaving me alone in the silent night. Well, as a matter of fact, not absolutely alone, because a few moments later there was a sort of upheaval in the bushes in front of me, and Tuppy emerged. Yeah, all right, okay, we'll get back to it in just a second. Continue on. All right, looks like we've had a couple more people join us. How you all doing? Hope you're enjoying this. This is turning into straight up farce now. Good Lord. This Bertram Wooster ain't much of a matchmaker. I'm gonna say that much. Yeah. Okay, let's lower that down there. Boy, oh boy. Oh boy. Yeah, that's right. I am the king, King Carrington. I like it. Very good. Okay. Indeed, he is not. Let's get a little battle royale going. Royale. There we go. Oh, okay, I can't believe this is the first time I've ever read one of these books. Apparently, it was like a British staple. But I'm really not familiar with this at all. So it's been pretty good reading it through first time around. I like it. Let's take a quick peek at. Well, no, not really taking off there either. Where are we at now? Okay, so when we started, we were about halfway through. Oh, by the way, yeah, so for those who might be new to the stream here, everything we do is in the public domain, which means if you just catch a little bit of it and you want to hear more of it, you can get a free digital download of anything that we read. From Gutenberg.org is a pretty good source for it. The Amazon Kindle store also has a lot of public domain material in it, but you need to keep an eye out. You need to keep an eye out if you go there. Sometimes they charge money for it. Don't want to do that. Yeah. Oh, who's got the picking up the? Oh wow. I'm not winning. Why? Someone got me. What? Oregon wins the day. Good gracious. Wow. That's pretty good. Nice. That's Michelangelo. Okay, let's get back to our story, back to our book. So far, so good. Man, this dude's like a walking disaster. So I shouldn't say so far, so good. He's gonna get us all into big trouble. Alrighty. Chapter 15. Okay, so he's just been insulting his friend, Tuppy Glossop, trying to get his fiancée to come to his defense. Like the tigress, which she didn't. She just agreed with him. And Tuppy's been holding. Glossop has been hiding in the bushes the entire time. So yeah, all right. Things are about to get a little heated, I think. I'm amazed that this Bertram Wooster's still got friends. There's crazy schemes that he comes up. I'm sure he must go through a lot of them. I'm sure. I am sure. Here we go. Chapter 15. I gave him the eye. The evening had begun to draw in a bit by now, and the visibility, in consequence, was not so hot, but there still remained ample light to enable me to see him clearly, and what I saw convinced me that I should be a lot easier in my mind with a stout rustic bench between us. I rose accordingly, modelling my style on that of a rocketing pheasant, and proceeded to deposit myself on the other side of the object named. My prompt agility was not without its effect. He seemed somewhat taken aback.
He came to a halt, and for about the space of time required to allow a bead of perspire to trickle from the top of the brow to the tip of the nose, stood gazing at me in silence. Hey, Gotham, gotcha. It is indeed. How you doing, man? How are you doing? This here, my friend Gotham Gotcha. One of the first original people that I started watching here on Mixer. Way back in the day. Does that make you feel old? Way back in the day. Definitely give that man a follow. What are you playing tonight, man? Oh, you play MLB? That's the baseball thing, right? Ah, all right. Yeah, I don't know a lot about the sports games here. I imagine it's good if you've been playing them. It's good. It's a bit of a chill day. There, Gotham Gotcha. How are you liking that new update to the Mixer front page? It's been pretty good so far. Oh, okay, anyway, we got to get back to our story. Here we go. You're okay at it? Yeah, the baseball thing, yeah. It's slow and kind of boring to watch. Yeah, there are some games like that. Yeah, actually, World War Z, actually. I watched some streams of that, and that looked like really boring. Then tried playing it, and it was a lot of fun. So, I don't know, there's some games, I know, I guess just don't translate to a good watch. Yeah. Oh, okay, okay, all right, I get the hint there, Tellable Cat, I'm waffling. Okay, let's get on with it. Okay, we got to get on with it. When the waffles come out, I got to get on with it. You don't like the main... yeah, change is always different. Change is different. I like the way that it's dynamically populated now. So it recommends... what I have found... we'll get back to it in just a second there, Tillable Cat. What I have found is that a lot of people... which I have followed over, over the past 2 years, basically. You know how you follow like a lot of people and then you never really see them again. They're all showing up now, which is good. I mean, it's like because you followed them because you like them to start with. But now since it's all being dynamically served up, based on people you follow, people you like, streams that you watch, games that you've watched. A lot of the people which I followed, but you just don't see. They were never really findable before on the follow, on your follow lists, or if you didn't, if you weren't always manually going to find their stuff, you'd quite often not see them get put up and presented. I'm finding a lot more of those streams popping up, which is good. I think that's a good thing. You just like the sticker? All right. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah, Jer Henning made that. Yeah. All right. Okay, let's back up. He seemed somewhat... my prompt agility was not without its effect. He seemed somewhat taken aback. He came to a halt, and for about the space of time required to allow a bead of perspire to trickle from the top of the brow to the tip of the nose, stood gazing at me in silence. "So," he said at length, and it came as a complete surprise to me that fellows ever really do say "so." I'd always thought it was just the thing you read in books. Like quotha, I mean to say, or odds bodikins, or even ba goom. Still, there it was. Quaint or not quaint, bizarre or not bizarre, he had said so, and it was up to me to cope with the situation on those lines. It would have been a duller man than Bertram Wooster who had failed to note that the dear old chap was a bit steamed up. Whether his eyes were actually shooting forth flame, I couldn't tell you, but there appeared to me to be a distinct incandescence. For the rest, his fists were clenched, his ears quivering, and the muscles of his jaw rotating rhythmically as if he were making an early supper of something. His hair was full of twigs, and there was a beetle hanging to the side of his head, which would have interested Gussie Fink-Nottle. To this, however, I paid scant attention. There is a time for studying beetles and a time for not studying beetles.
So,
he said again. Now those who know Bertram Wooster best will tell you that he is always at his shrewdest and most level-headed in moments of peril. Who was it who, when gripped by the arm of the law on boat race night not so many years ago and hauled off to Vine Street Police Station, assumed in a flash the identity of Eustace H. Plimsoll of the Labanums, Allen Road, West Dulwich, thus saving the grand old name of Wooster from being dragged in the mire and avoiding wide publicity of the wrong sort? Who was it? But I need not belabor the point. My record speaks for itself. 3 times pinched, but never once sentenced under the correct label. Ask anyone at the drones about this. So now, in a situation threatening to become every moment more scaly, I did not lose my head. I preserved the old sang-froid. Smiling a genial and affectionate smile, and hoping that it wasn't too dark for it to register, I spoke with a jolly cordiality. "Why, hello, Tuppy. You here?" He said yes, he was here. "Been here long?" "I have." "Fine. I wanted to see you." "Well, here I am. Come on out from behind that bench." No thanks, old man. I like leaning on it. Seems to rest the spine." "In about 2 seconds," said Tuppy, "I'm going to kick your spine up through the top of your head." I raised the eyebrows. Not much good, of course, in that light, but it seemed to help the general composition. "Is this Hildebrand Glossop speaking?" I said. He replied that it was, adding that if I wanted to make sure, I might move a few feet over in his direction. He also called me an opprobrious name. I raised the eyebrows again. "Oh, come, Tuppy, don't let us let this little chat become acrid. Is acrid the word I want?" "I couldn't say," he replied, beginning to sidle round the bench. I saw that anything I might wish to say must be said quickly. Already he had sidled some 6 feet, and though by dint of sidling too I had managed to keep the bench between us, who could predict how long this happy state of affairs would last? I came to the point, therefore. "I think I know what's on your mind, Tuppy," I said. "If you were in those bushes during my conversation with the recent Angela, I dare say you heard what I was saying about you." "I did." "I see. Well, we won't go into the ethics of the thing. Eavesdropping, some people might call it, and I can imagine stern critics drawing in the breath to some extent. Considering it, I don't want to hurt your feelings, Tuppy, but considering it un-English. A bit un-English, Tuppy, old man, you must admit." "I'm Scotch." Really?" I said. "I never knew that before." Rummy how you don't suspect a man of being Scotch unless he's Mac something and says 'Och aye' and things like that. I wonder," I went on, feeling that an academic discussion on some neutral topic might ease the tension, "if you can tell me something that has puzzled me a good deal. What exactly is it that they put into haggis? I've often wondered about that." From the fact that his only response to the question was to leap over the bench and make a grab at me, I gathered that his mind was not on haggis. "However," I said, leaping over the bench in my turn, "that is a side issue. If, to come back to it, you were in those bushes and heard what I was saying about you—" He began to move round the bench in a nor'-nor'easterly direction. I followed his example, setting up a course south-southwest. "No doubt you were surprised at the way I was talking." "Not a bit." What? Did nothing strike you as odd in the tone of my remarks?
It was just the sort of stuff I should have expected a treacherous sneaking hound like you to say.
My dear chap, I protested, this is not your usual form. A bit slow in the uptake, surely. I should have thought you would have spotted right away that it was all part of a well-laid plan.
I'll get you in a jiffy, said Tuppy, recovering his balance after a swift clutch at my neck.
And so probable did this seem that I delayed no longer, but hastened to place all the facts before him. Speaking rapidly and keeping moving, I related my emotions on receipt of Aunt Dahlia's telegram, my instant rush to the scene of the disaster, my meditations in the car, and the evening framing of this well-laid plan of mine. I spoke clearly and well, and it was with considerable concern, consequently, that I heard him observe, between clenched teeth, which made it worse, that he didn't believe a damned word of it.
But Tuppy, I said, why not? To me the thing rings true to the last drop. What makes you skeptical? Confide in me, Tuppy.
He halted and stood, taking a breather. Tuppy, pungently through Angela, might have argued to the contrary, isn't really fat. During the winter months you will find him constantly booting the football with merry shouts, and in the summer the tennis racket is seldom out of his hand. But at the recently concluded evening meal, feeling, no doubt, that after that painful scene in the larder there was nothing to be gained by further abstinence, he had let himself go, and, as it were, made up leeway. And after really immersing himself in one of Anatole's dinners, a man of his sturdy build tends to lose elasticity a bit. During the exposition of my plans for his happiness, a certain animation had crept into this round and round the mulberry bush jamboree of ours. So much so that for the last few minutes we might have been a rather oversized greyhound and a somewhat slimmer electric hare doing their stuff on a circular track for the entertainment of the many-headed. This, it appeared, had taken it out of him a bit, and I was not displeased. I was feeling the strain myself, and welcomed a lull. "It absolutely beats me why you don't believe it," I said. "You know we've been pals for years. You must be aware that, except at the moment when you caused me to do a nosedive into the drone's swimming bath, an incident which I long since decided to put out of my mind and let the dead past bury its dead about, if you follow what I mean. Except on that one occasion, as I say, I have always regarded you with the utmost esteem. Why, then, if not for the motives I have outlined, should I knock you to Angela? Answer me that. Be very careful."
"What do you mean, be very careful?"
Well, as a matter of fact, I didn't quite know myself. It was what the magistrate had said to me on the occasion when I stood in the dock as Eustace Plimsoll of the Laburnums, and as it had impressed me a good deal at the time, I just bunged it in now by way of giving the conversation a tone. All right, never mind about being careful, then. Just answer me that question. Why, if I had not your interests sincerely at heart, should I have ticked you off as stated?" The sharp spasm shook him from base to apex. The beetle, which during the recent exchanges had been clinging to his head, hoping for the best, gave it up at this and resigned office. It shot off and was swallowed in the night. "Ah," I said, "your beetle," I explained. "No doubt you were unaware of it, but all this while there has been a beetle of sorts parked on the side of your head. You have now dislodged it." He snorted. "Beetles?" "No, not beetles, one beetle only." "I like your crust," cried Tuppy, vibrating like one of Gussie's newts during the courting season. "Talking of beetles, when all the time you know you're a treacherous sneaking hound." It was a debatable point, of course, why treacherous, sneaking hounds should be considered ineligible to talk about beetles, and I dare say a good cross-examining counsel would have made quite a lot of it. But I let it go. "That's the second time you've called me that. And," I said firmly, "I insist on an explanation. I have told you that I acted throughout from the best and kindliest motives in roasting you to Angela. It cut me to the quick to have to speak like that, and only the recollection of our lifelong friendship would have made me do it. And now you say you don't believe me, and call me names for which I am not sure I couldn't have you up before a beacon jury and mulct you in very substantial damages. I should have to consult my solicitor, of course, but it would surprise me very much if an action did not lie. Be reasonable, Tuppy. Suggest another motive I could have had. Just one." "My will? Do you think I don't know? You're in love with Angela yourself." "What?" "And you knocked me in order to poison her mind against me and finally remove me from your path." I had never heard anything so absolutely loopy in my life. "Why, dash it, I've known Angela since she was so high. You don't fall in love with close relations you've known since they were so high. And besides, isn't there something in the Book of Rules about a man may not marry his cousin? Or am I thinking of grandmothers?" "Tuppy, my dear old ass," I cried, "this is pure banana oil. You've come unscrewed." "Oh, yes. Me in love with Angela? You can't get out of it with ha-has. She called you darling." "Oh, I know. And I disapproved. This habit of the younger G of scattering darling about like birdseed is one thing that I deprecate. Lax is how I should describe it." "You tickled her ankles." "Oh, in a purely cousinly spirit. It didn't mean a thing. Why, dash it, you must know that in the deeper and truer sense I wouldn't touch Angela with a barge pole." "Oh, and why not? Not good enough for you?" "Oh, you misunderstand me," I hastened to reply. "When I say I wouldn't touch Angela with a barge pole, I intend merely to convey that my feelings toward her are those of distant, though cordial, esteem. In other words, you may rest assured that between this young prune and myself there has never been, and never could be, any sentiment warmer and stronger than that of ordinary friendship." "I believe it was you who tipped her off that I was in the larder last night, so that she could find me there with that pie, thus damaging my prestige." "My dear Tuppy, a Wooster?" I was shocked. "You think a Wooster would do that?" He breathed heavily. "Listen," he said, "it's no good you're standing there arguing. You can't get away from the facts. Somebody stole her from me at Cannes. You told me yourself that she was with you all the time at Cannes and hardly saw anybody else. You gloated over the mixed bathing and on those moonlight walks you had together. Not gloated, just mentioned them. So now you understand why, as soon as I can get you clear of this damned bench, I'm going to tear you limb from limb. Why they have these bally benches in gardens," said Tuppy discontentedly, "is more than I can see. They only get in the way." He ceased, and, grabbing out, missed me by a hair's breadth. It was a moment for swift thinking, and it is at such moments, as I have already indicated, that Bertram Wooster is at his best. I suddenly remembered the recent misunderstanding with the Basset, and with a flash of clear vision saw that this was where it was going to come in handy. You've got it all wrong, Tuppy, I said, moving to the left. True, I saw a lot of Angela, but my dealings with her were on a basis from start to finish of the purest and most wholesome camaraderie. I can prove it. During that sojourn in Cannes, my affections were engaged elsewhere. What? Engaged elsewhere. My affections, during that sojourn. I had struck the right note. He stopped sidling. His clutching hand fell to his side. Is that true? Quite official. Who was she? My dear Tuppy, does one bandy a woman's name? One does if one doesn't want one's ruddy head pulled off. I saw that it was a special case. Madeline Bassett, I said. Who? Madeline Bassett. He seemed stunned. You stand there and tell me you were in love with that Bassett disaster? Oh, I wouldn't call her that Bassett disaster, Tuppy. Not respectful. Dash being respectful, I want the facts. You deliberately assert that you loved that weird God help us. I don't see why you should call her a weird God help us either. A very charming and beautiful girl, odd in some of her views, perhaps. One does not quite see eye to eye with her in the matter of stars and rabbits. But not a weird God help us. Anyway, you stick to it that you were in love with her. I do. It sounds thin to me, Wooster, very thin. I saw that it would be necessary to apply the finishing touch. Good morning, Halo Collector. I must ask you to treat this as entirely confidential, Glossop, but I may as well inform you that it is not 24 hours since she turned me down. Turned you down? Like a bedspread. In this very garden. 24 hours? Call it 25. So you will readily see that I can't be the chap, if any, who stole Angela from you at Cannes. And I was on the brink of adding that I wouldn't touch Angela with a barge pole, when I remembered I had said it already, and it hadn't gone frightfully well. I desisted, therefore. My manly frankness seemed to be producing good results. The homicidal glare was dying out of Tuppy's eyes. He had the aspect of a hired assassin who had paused to think things over. I see, he said at length. All right, then. Sorry you were troubled. Don't mention it, old man, I responded courteously. For the first time since the bushes had begun to pour forth glossops, Bertram Wooster could be said to have breathed freely. I don't say I actually came out from behind the bench, but I did let go of it, and with something of the relief which those 3 chaps in the Old Testament must have experienced after sliding out of the burning fiery furnace. I even groped tentatively for my cigarette case. The next moment, a sudden snort made me take my fingers off it, as if it had bitten me. I was distressed to note in the old friend a return of the recent frenzy. What the hell do you mean by telling her that I used to be covered with ink when I was a kid? Oh, my dear Tuppy, I was almost finickingly careful about my personal cleanliness as a boy. You could have eaten your dinner off of me. Quite, but... And all that stuff about having no soul? I'm crawling with soul. And being looked on as an outsider at the drones. But, my dear old chap, I explained that. It was all part of my ruse, or scheme. It was it? Well, in future, do me a favor, and leave me out of your foul ruses.
Just as you say, old boy. All right, then. That's understood.
He relapsed into silence, standing with folded arms, staring before him, rather like a strong, silent man in a novel when he's just been given the bird by the girl and is thinking of looking in at the Rocky Mountains and bumping off a few bears. His manifest pippedness excited my compassion, and I ventured a kindly word. Oh, hang on. I ventured... Oh, yeah. I don't suppose you know what au pied de la lettre means, Tuppy, but that's how I don't think you ought to take all that stuff Angela was saying just now too much. He seemed interested. What the devil, he asked, are you talking about? I saw that I should have to make myself clearer. And don't take all that guff of hers too literally, old man. You know what girls are like. I do, he said, with another snort that came straight from his insteps. And I wish I never met one. I mean to say it's obvious that she must have spotted you in those bushes and was simply talking to score off you. There you were, I mean, if you follow the psychology, and she saw you. In that impulsive way girls have, she sees the opportunity of ribbing you a bit. She just told you a few home truths, I mean to say. Home truths? That's right. He snorted once more, causing me to feel rather like royalty receiving a 21-gun salute from the fleet. I can't remember ever having met a better right and left-hand snorter. What do you mean, home truths? I'm not that. No. And what's wrong with the color of my hair? Quite in order, Tuppy, old man. The hair, I mean. And I'm not a bit thin on the top. What the dickens are you grinning about? Not grinning, just smiling slightly. I was conjuring up a sort of vision, if you know what I mean, of you as seen through Angela's eyes. Fat in the middle, thin on the top. Rather funny. You think it funny, do you? Not a bit. You'd better not. Quite. It seemed to me that the conversation was becoming difficult again. I wished it could be terminated. And so it was, for at this moment something came shimmering through the laurels in the quiet evenfall, and I perceived that it was Angela. She was looking sweet and saint-like, and she had a plate of sandwiches in her hand. Ham, I was to discover later. If you see Mr. Glossop anywhere, Bertie, she said, her eyes resting dreamily on Tuppy's facade, I wish you would give him these. I'm so afraid he may be hungry, poor fellow. It's nearly 10 o'clock, and he hasn't eaten a morsel since dinner. I'll just leave them on this bench. She pushed off, and it seemed to me I might as well go with her. Nothing to keep me here, I mean. We moved towards the house, and presently from behind us there sounded in the night the splintering crash of a well-kicked plate of ham sandwiches, accompanied by the muffled oaths of a strong man in his wrath. How still and peaceful everything is, said Angela. Good Lord. The dude's a walking disaster. Walking disaster. Man, oh man. Boy, oh boy, oh. So how are we all holding up? We're all holding up. I think we got time for one more chapter, I think. Oh, network error. Don't know what happened over there. Let us, gonna take a little sip of water. A little sip of water. Here we come. I like it. Bum 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 bum. Oh, that's so good. All right. Man. I think we will. One more. Let me just take a quick little page count. If it's too long, we might switch over to just a little short story to end the day with. Quick little here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, yeah, it's going to be too long. Okay, yeah, so we go. Let's switch there, yeah, because yeah, that's yeah, about 22 pages to the hour, 22, 25, something like that, to the hour, and we certainly don't have an hour left. All right, so let's take a quick little peek. Let me just switch scenes real fast here. We're going to pick up some short stories. Let's where's my Wells book? Let's see. The Country of the Blind. What was that other one? Oh, that was the story of Piecraft. Yeah, that was good. It was in the last one. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, okay, let's do some dark H.G. Wells stuff. Here we go. The Beautiful Suit. Yeah, let's just gotta change our scene here real fast. Hope it's not late tomorrow. It's all good. Halo Collectors has more than an hour left. No, by the time Thursday rolls around, it's like, yeah, it is. It's kind of rough to keep going after the usual or scheduled end time. Let's see. Oh, we need to change out. This is The Beautiful Suit by H.G. Wells. Oh yeah, so we picked up this this book of short stories here, The Beautiful Suit. Well, this is by H.G. Wells. Yeah, so we picked up this book, H.G. Wells. Oh man, it's H, not P. H. Yeah, so I mean, we've read a lot of the H.G. Wells novels, you know, like The Invisible Man and War of the Worlds, bunch of other stuff. Bunch of other stuff as well, but we also picked up this book of short stories, and the book of short stories, they're so dark, so morbid. I mean, the first story, this one's actually the very last one in the book, story number 33. But the very first one, I mean, it's just straight up murder. Like a dude finds out that his wife's been cheating on him, so he makes the other fellow he frog marches him through the big smelting yard. It's really it's like borderline horror. It was just weird, and almost all of the stories in this tend to have like some really dark tone to them there, which is very different from his novels, I thought. So it's lunch. It's lunch for you in the U.S. Oh, it's wow. Okay, that's nice. Well, yeah, there we go. Lunch shift. You're lucky to be working right now. Lucky to be working. Very good. Oh boy, oh boy. Oh yeah, so yeah, no, Halo Collector. There was I saw I don't have all the details, but I saw some like sudden announcement for the Xbox launch on Thanksgiving Day, which got quickly walked back. It was up on some website this morning for like 10 minutes or something, and got taken away. So everyone's like, ooh, I don't know. So the yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We will see. I'm sure it's going to be pushed back a little bit there, just until yeah, the whole situation that's going on is a little more under control. A little more under control. Yeah, just checking a couple of pages here real fast. Nothing in my email. I've got nothing coming in. Nothing coming in. All right. Okay, let's go. We load that one? Don't know. Righto, Jeeves. This one just keeps saying failing to load. Okay, that's where it shows up. All right. Who knows? Who knows what's going on? I don't know. All right, let's get on with it. You are blessed, and indeed you are blessed to be working right now. Fake news, says Halo Collector. Yeah, it might well be. Might well be. I mean, but I just saw like a brief little bit of scuttlebutt in the news app this morning, and it said it was up for like 10 minutes, and then boom, so then it got taken away. So you never know. Your hubby's a trucker and gets supplies state to state. Well, there we go. Yeah, that's a very important job. Yeah, I know. Too many rumors flying about that Xbox thing right now. Let's see. Let us. Okay, we go. Yeah, we got this one here. The beautiful suit. The beautiful suit. Okay, let's have a little read. Have a little read on this. Here we go. Oh, actually, I forgot to check my one page over here. Bum 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 bum. Okay. In we go. Here we go. The beautiful suit. I lost my chat window. Where did my chat window go? There it is. All right. There once was a little man whose mother made him a beautiful suit of clothes. It was green and gold, and woven so that I cannot describe how delicate and fine it was, and there was a tie of orange fluffiness that tied up under his chin, and the buttons in their newness shone like stars. He was proud and pleased by his suit beyond measure, and stood before the long looking-glass when first he put it on, so astonished and delighted with it that he could hardly turn himself away. He wanted to wear it everywhere and show it to all sorts of people. He thought over all the places he had ever visited, and all the scenes he had ever heard described, and tried to imagine what the feel of it would be if he were to go now to those scenes and places, wearing his shining suit. And he wanted to go out forthwith into the long grass and the hot sunshine of the meadow, wearing it. Just to wear it. But his mother told him no. She told him he must take great care of his suit, for never would he have another nearly so fine. He must save it, and only wear it on rare and great occasions. It was his wedding suit, she said, and she took the buttons and twisted them up with tissue paper, for fear their bright newness should be tarnished, and she tacked little guards over the cuffs and elbows, and wherever the suit was most likely to come to harm. He hated and resisted these things, but what could he do? And at last her warnings and persuasions had effect, and he consented to take off his beautiful suit and fold it into its proper creases, and put it away. It was almost as though he gave it up again, but he was always thinking of wearing it, and of the supreme occasions when some day it might be worn without the guards, without the tissue paper on the buttons, utterly and delightfully, never caring, beautiful beyond measure. One night, when he was dreaming of it after his habit, he dreamt he took the tissue paper from one of the buttons, and found its brightness a little faded, and that distressed him mightily in his dream. He polished the poor faded button, and polished it, and if anything, it grew duller. He woke up and lay awake, thinking of the brightness a little dulled, and wondering how he would feel if perhaps when the great occasion, whatever it might be, should arrive, one button should chance to be ever so little short of its first glittering freshness. And for days and days that thought remained with him distressingly. And when next his mother let him wear his suit, he was tempted and nearly gave way to the temptation just to fumble off one little bit of tissue paper, and see if indeed the buttons were keeping as bright as ever. He went trimly along his way to church, full of this wild desire. For you must know his mother did, with repeated and careful warnings, let him wear his suit at times, on Sundays, for example, to and fro from church, when there was no threatening of rain, no dust blowing, nor anything to injure it, with its buttons covered and its protections tacked upon it, and a sunshade in his hand to shadow it, if there seemed too strong a sunlight for its colors. And always, after such occasions, he brushed it over and folded it exquisitely, as she had taught him, and put it away again. Good morning, La Giazon. Now all these restrictions his mother set to the wearing of his suit, he obeyed. Always he obeyed them. Until one strange night he woke up and saw the moonlight shining outside his window. It seemed to him the moonlight was not common moonlight, nor the night a common night. And for a while he lay quite drowsily, with this odd persuasion in his mind. How are you doing today, La Giazon? Thought joined on to thought, like things that whisper warmly in the shadows. Then he sat up in his little bed, suddenly very alert, with his heart beating very fast and a quiver in his body from top to toe. He had made up his mind. He knew that now he was going to wear his suit as it should be worn. He had no doubt in the matter. He was afraid, terribly afraid, but glad. He got out of his bed and stood for a moment by the window, looking at the moonshine-flooded garden, and trembling at the thing he meant to do. The air was full of a minute clamor of crickets and murmurings, of the infinitesimal shoutings of little living things. He went very gently across the creaking boards, for fear that he might wake the sleeping house, to the big dark clothes-press, wherein his beautiful suit lay folded. And he took it out, garment by garment, and softly and very eagerly tore off its tissue-paper covering and its tacked protections, until there it was, perfect and delightful as he had seen it when first his mother had given it to him. A long time it seemed ago. Not a button had tarnished, not a thread had faded on this dear suit of his. He was glad enough for weeping, as in a noiseless hurry he put it on, and then back he went, soft and quick, to the window that looked out upon the garden, and stood there for a minute, shining in the moonlight, with his buttons twinkling like stars, before he got out on the sill, and making as little of a rustling as he could, clambered down to the garden path below. He stood before his mother's house, and it was white and nearly as plain by day, with every window blind but his own shut like an eye that sleeps. The trees cast still shadows like intricate black lace upon the wall. The garden in the moonlight was very different from the garden by day. Moonshine was tangled in the hedges and stretched in phantom cobwebs from spray to spray. Every flower was gleaming white or crimson black, and the air was aquiver with the thridding of small crickets and nightingales singing, unseen, in the depths of the trees. There was no darkness in the world, but only warm, mysterious shadows, and all the leaves and spikes were edged and lined with iridescent jewels of dew. The night was warmer than any night had ever been. The heavens by some miracle at once vaster and nearer, and in spite of the great ivory-tinted moon that ruled the world, the sky was full of stars. The little man did not shout nor sing for all his infinite gladness. He stood for a time, like one awe-stricken, and then, with a queer small cry, and holding out his arms, he ran out as if he would embrace at once the whole round immensity of the world. He did not follow the neat set paths that cut the garden squarely, but thrust across the beds and through the wet, tall, scented herbs, through the nightstock and the nicotine and the clusters of phantom white mallow flowers, and through the thickets of southernwood and lavender, and knee-deep across a wide space of mignonette. He came to the great hedge, and he thrust his way through it, and through the thorns of the brambles. And though the thorns of the brambles scored him deeply and tore threads from his wonderful suit, and though burrs and goosegrass and havers caught and clung to him, he did not care. He did not care, for he knew it was all part of the wearing for which he had longed. "I'm glad I put on my suit," he said. "I'm glad I wore my suit." Beyond the hedge he came to the duck pond, or at least to what was the duck pond by day. But by night it was a great bowl of silver moonshine, all noisy with singing frogs, of wonderful silver moonshine, twisted and clotted with strange patternings. And the little man rushed down into its waters between the thin black rushes, knee-deep and waist-deep, and to his shoulders, smiting the water to black and shining wavelets with either hand, swaying and shivering wavelets, amidst which the stars were netted in the tangled reflections of the brooding trees upon the bank. He waded until he swam, and so he crossed the pond, and came out upon the other side, trailing, as it seemed to him, not duckweed, but very silver in long, clinging, dripping masses. And up he went through the transfigured tangles of the willow herb and the uncut seeding grasses of the farther bank. He came glad and breathless into the high road. "I'm glad," he said, "beyond measure that I had clothes that fitted this occasion." The high road ran straight as an arrow flies, straight into the deep blue pit of sky beneath the moon, a white and shining road between the singing nightingales, and along it he went, running now and leaping, and now walking and rejoicing, in the clothes his mother had made for him with tireless, loving hands. The road was deep in dust, but that for him was only soft whiteness, and as he went, a great dim moth came fluttering round his wet and shimmering and hastening figure. At first he did not heed the moth, and then he waved his hands at it, and made a sort of dance with it as it circled round his head. "Soft moth," he cried, "dear moth, and wonderful night of the world! Do you think my clothes are beautiful, dear moth, as beautiful as your scales and all this silver vesture of the earth and sky?" And the moth circled closer and closer, until at last its velvet wings just brushed his lips. And next morning, they found him dead, with his neck broken, in the bottom of the stone pit, with his beautiful clothes a little bloody and foul and stained with the duckweed from the pond. But his face was a face of such happiness that, had you seen it, you would have understood, indeed, how that he had died happy, never knowing that cool and streaming silver for the duckweed in the pond. Yeah. So yeah, he does. Yeah. So that's what I found weird about that. I mean, that's not as like down as the that other one. Yeah, the murder one. But yeah, he's got some pretty morbid kind of things happening in there. That's for sure. That's for sure. Alrighty. Do we got time for one? I think we got time for one more. I'm just trying to find something nice and short. Alrighty. What do we got? He's like, yeah. Yeah, he says. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, too long. Yeah, it's hard to find it like a nice and short. Oh, too long, let's say. Let's do this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 12. The Island of the Fae. I don't know this one. Well, maybe. I'm sure we've read this, but Island of the Fae by there we go. Una mas. Last one. This is it. This is it. Last short story. Don't forget, if you are enjoying the stream, of course, one, give me a follow. I appreciate that too, but also let your friends know. Let them know on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever you young whippersnappers are using these days. Yeah, I know they yeah, but yeah, and yeah, just a reminder for those who might not know, we generally Monday through Thursday here on Mixer. That's my main stream. For the next couple of weeks, I am restreaming out to Twitch and YouTube. I don't often do that, but you know, right now is one of those times there where there's a lot of people working from home, or school is out for a bit of a while, so we're just sharing it to a bit of a wider audience right now. So yeah, but if you are over on Twitch or YouTube, oh hello. Our main stream is over here on Mixer, mixer.com/CarringtonTV. And I read books here, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. And we're working our way through some funny stuff. And we also have a short story Sunday, on Sundays, reading short stories. And we also read stories by you. If you are a creative writer, if you have written something you'd like to share with the stream, yeah, I'm more than happy to read what you have written. Yeah. But here we go. Here's our last one to the day. Oh, you subscribed on YouTube yesterday. Okay. Well, thank you, Rose. Thank you. Yeah, I need to start uploading more recorded stuff up to YouTube as well. I think. I know. We'll figure it out. Yeah. Right. This is it, Oregon. Last one. Last one. Okay, I hope that last one, that last story wasn't too wasn't too morose for you all. I kind of like those ones. Yeah, it's kind of like, you know, like the little match girl and things like that. Stories like that are always fun. Always fun. Oh, I just got to check on something real fast here. One second. Why they do it 18 plus? I don't get it. Right. Do. Oh yeah, I guess. Okay, right. There we go. Where is that audio coming from? I don't know. All right. Yeah, okay, yeah, so yeah, we're going to read this last little short story here, then we're going to turn it over to another creative stream. Someone in creative. Maybe upload VODs. You know, I used to, my agent hates it. They hate it when I do that. Yeah, because it's not... yeah, because it's so raw. It's not like polished or whatever. You know, I do stuff like this. I stop and talk to you all, and it's not the same. Well, yeah, no, it's different. Yeah, yeah. So I used to do it, but I was discouraged from doing that. Yes, especially because even reading the audiobooks, I mean, like, you know, we stumble over a bunch of stuff, and you know, if as far as they're concerned, yeah, they don't want to see that kind of stuff. They don't want to see me stopping to look up words or anything like that. So that's one of those things. Okay. Yeah, there is a nice bunch of sparks. There is. All right, okay, let's get on with it. This is our last one of the day. The Island of the Fae. Or Fairies by Edgar Allan Poe. Oh boy. Okay, now we got to okay, now we got to look up a Latin quote for starters. Where's translate? Okay, meaning. There is no nullus locus sine genio. There is no place without spirit, which the Romans called genius. There is no place without spirit. There is no place without spirit. Okay, got it. Oh, you can't see that yet. One second, I forgot to change back. Forgot to change back. Here, this is what we're doing. The last story of the night. Here we go. Of the day. All of the above. You know what I mean. The Island of the Bay. Nullus enim locus sine genio est. There is no place without spirit. La musique, says Marmontel in those Conte Moro, which in all our translations we have insisted upon calling moral tales, as if in mockery of their spirit. La musique est la seule des talents qui jouissent de lui-même. Tous les autres veulent des témoins. He here confounds the pleasure derivable from sweet sounds with the capacity for creating them. No more than any other talent is that for music susceptible of complete enjoyment, where there is no second party to appreciate its exercise. And it is only in common with other talents that it produces effects which may be fully enjoyed in solitude. The idea which the raconteur has either failed to entertain clearly, or has sacrificed in its expression to his national love of point, is, doubtless, the very tenable one, that the higher order of music is the most thoroughly estimated when we are exclusively alone. The proposition, in this form, will be admitted at once by those who love the lyre for its own sake, and for its spiritual uses. But there is one pleasure still within the reach of fallen mortality, and perhaps only one, which owes even more than does music to the accessory sentiment of seclusion. I mean the happiness experienced in the contemplation of natural scenery. In truth, the man who would behold aright the glory of God upon earth must in solitude behold that glory. To me, at least, the presence, not of human life only, but of life in any other form than that of the green things which grow upon the soil and are voiceless, is a stain upon the landscape, is at war with the genius of the scene. I love, indeed, to regard the dark valleys, and the grey rocks, and the waters that silently smile, and the forests that sigh in uneasy slumbers, and the proud watchful mountains that look down upon all. I love to regard these as themselves but the colossal members of one vast animate and sentient whole, a whole whose form, that of the sphere, is the most perfect and most inclusive of all, whose path is among associate planets, whose meek handmaiden is the moon, whose mediate sovereign is the sun, whose life is eternity, whose thought is that of a god, whose enjoyment is knowledge, whose destinies are lost in immensity, whose cognizance of ourselves is akin with our own cognizance of the animalculae which infest the brain, a being which we, in consequence, regard as purely inanimate and material, much in the same manner as these animalculae must thus regard us. Good Lord! Our telescopes and our mathematical investigations assure us on every hand, notwithstanding the cant of the more ignorant of the priesthood, that space, and therefore that bulk, is an important consideration in the eyes of the Almighty. The cycles in which the stars move are those best adapted for the evolution, without collision, of the greatest possible number of bodies. The forms of those bodies are accurately such as, within a given surface, to include the greatest possible amount of matter, while the surfaces themselves are so disposed as to accommodate a denser population than could be accommodated on the same surfaces otherwise arranged. Nor is it any argument against bulk being an object with God, that space itself is infinite, for there may be an infinity of matter to fill it. And since we see clearly that the endowment of matter with vitality is a principle, indeed, as far as our judgments extend, the leading principle in the operations of deity, it is scarcely logical to imagine it confined to the regions of the minute, where we daily trace it, to the regions of the minute, where we daily trace it, and not extending to those of the august. Sup, Jelly Buns? How you doing? This is our last little short story of the day. As we find cycle within cycle without end, yet all revolving around one far distant center, which is the Godhead, may we not analogically suppose in the same manner life within life, the less within the greater, and all within the Spirit divine? In short, we are madly erring, through self-esteem, in believing man, in either his temporal or future destinies, to be of more moment in the universe than that vast clod of the valley, which he tills and contemns, and to which he denies a soul for no more profound reason than he does not behold it in operation. These fancies, and such as these, have always given to my meditations among the mountains and the forests, by the rivers and the ocean, a tinge of what the everyday world would not fail to term fantastic. My wanderings amid such scenes have been many and far-searching, and often solitary, and the interest with which I have strayed through many a dim, deep valley, or gazed into the reflected heaven of many a bright lake,
has been an interest greatly deepened by the thought that I have strayed and gazed alone. What flippant Frenchman was it who said in allusion to the well-known work of Zimmerman that la solitude est une belle chose, mais il faut quelqu'un pour vous dire que la solitude est la belle... What the hell? Okay, I'm just going to look that up. You know, I don't know. This is where it gets a little weird. One second. Get rid of that. Yeah, sometimes it's like with no like little footnotes or handy little translations. Here we go. Intertext. Loneliness is a beautiful thing, but it takes someone to tell you that loneliness is a beautiful thing. Okay. Loneliness is a beautiful thing, but it takes someone to tell you that loneliness is a beautiful thing. The epigram cannot be gainsaid, but the necessity is a thing that does not exist. So there, Gamer D, what's going on? How you doing? It was during one of my lonely journeyings, amid a far distant region of mountain, locked within mountain, and sad rivers and melancholy tarn writhing or sleeping within all, that I chanced upon a certain rivulet and island. I came upon them suddenly in the leafy June, and threw myself upon the turf, beneath the branches of an unknown odorous shrub, that I might doze as I contemplated the scene. I felt that thus only should I look at it. Such was the character of phantasm which it wore. On all sides, save to the west, where the sun was about sinking, arose the verdant walls of the forest. The little river, which turned sharply in its course and was thus immediately lost to sight, seemed to have no exit from its prison, but to be absorbed by the deep green foliage of the trees to the east, while in the opposite quarter, so it appeared to me as I lay at length and glanced upward, there poured down noiselessly and continuously into the valley a rich golden and crimson waterfall from the sunset fountains of the sky. About midway in the short vista which my dreamy vision took in, one small circular island, profusely verdured, reposed upon the bosom of the stream. So blended bank and shadow there, that each seemed pendulous in air. So mirror-like was the glassy water that it was scarcely possible to say at what point upon the slope of the emerald turf its crystal dominion began. My position enabled me to include in a single view both the eastern and western extremities of the islet, and I observed a singularly marked difference in their aspects. The latter was all one radiant harem of garden beauties. It glowed and blushed beneath the eyes of the slant sunlight, and fairly laughed with flowers. The grass was short, springy, sweet-scented, and asphodel interspersed. The trees were lithe, mirthful, erect, bright, slender, and graceful, of eastern figure and foliage, with bark smooth, glossy, and parti-colored. There seemed a deep sense of life and joy about all, and although no airs blew from out the heavens, yet everything had motion through the gentle sweepings to and fro of innumerable butterflies that might have been mistaken for tulips with wings. Read what? I'm reading it. The other or eastern end of the isle was whelmed in the blackest shade. A sombre yet beautiful and peaceful gloom here pervaded all things. The trees were dark in color and mournful in form and attitude, wreathing themselves into sad, solemn, and spectral shapes that conveyed ideas of mortal sorrow and untimely death. The grass wore the deep tint of the cypress, and the heads of its blades hung droopingly. And the heads of its blades hung droopingly, and hither and thither among it were many small, unsightly hillocks, low and narrow, and not very long, that had the aspect of graves, but were not, although over and all about them the rue and the rosemary clambered. The shade of the trees fell heavily upon the water, and seemed to bury itself therein, impregnating the depths of the element with darkness. I fancied that each shadow, as the sun descended lower and lower, separated itself sullenly from the trunk that gave it birth, and thus became absorbed by the stream, while other shadows issued momently from the trees, taking the place of their predecessors, thus entombed. This idea, having once seized upon my fancy, greatly excited it, and I lost myself forthwith in reverie. If ever island were enchanted, said I to myself, this is it. This is the haunt of the few gentle fays who remain from the wreck of the race. Are these green tombs theirs? Or do they yield up their sweet lives as mankind yield up their own? In dying, do they not rather waste away mournfully, rendering unto God, little by little, their existence, as these trees render up shadow after shadow, exhausting their substance unto dissolution? What the wasting tree is to the water that imbibes its shade, growing thus blacker by what it preys upon, may not the life of the Fae be to the death which engulfs it? As I thus mused, with half-shut eyes, while the sun sank rapidly to rest, and eddying currents careered round and round the island, bearing upon their bosom large, dazzling, white flakes of the bark of the sycamore flakes, which, in their multiform positions upon the water, a quick imagination might have converted into anything it pleased. While I thus mused, it appeared to me that the form of one of those very fays about whom I had been pondering made its way slowly into the darkness from out the light at the western end of the island. She stood erect in a singularly fragile canoe, and urged with it the mere phantom of an oar, while within the influence of the lingering sunbeams her attitude seemed indicative of joy. But sorrow deformed it as she passed within the shade. Slowly she glided along, and at length rounded the islet, and re-entered the region of light. The revolution which has just been made by the Fae, continued I, musingly, is the cycle of the brief year of her life. She has floated through her winter and through her summer. She is a year nearer unto death. For I did not fail to see that, as she came into the shade, her shadow fell from her, and was swallowed up in the dark water, making its blackness more black. And again the boat appeared, and the Fae, but about the attitude of the latter there was more of care and uncertainty, and less of elastic joy. She floated again from out the light and into the gloom, which deepened momently. And again her shadow fell from her into the ebony water, and became absorbed into its blackness. And again she made the circuit of the island,
while the sun rushed down to his slumbers. And at each issuing into the light there was more sorrow about her person, while it grew feebler and far fainter and more indistinct. And at each passage into the gloom there fell from her a darker shade, which became whelmed in a shadow more black. But at length, when the sun had utterly departed, the Fae, now the mere ghost of her former self, went disconsolately with her boat into the region of the ebony flood. And that she issued thence at all, I cannot say, for darkness fell over all things, and I beheld her magical figure no more. Alrighty. Well, that was a bit of a somber piece to end on there. Kind of, I need to make it a point not to read Edgar Allan Poe to finish up a stream with. Yeah, alrighty. Very welcome. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Rose, for spending a little time with us there. Man, tell you what, though. By the time Thursday has rolled around there, that voice has taken a bit of a beating. Oh, boy. Okay, I need to go get some things done. So, unfortunately, I gotta say good night, bid adieu. We'll be back later tonight, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, something like that, p.m. Pacific, for some gaming. We're going to be continuing with the Batman thing, that new Batman. Yeah, so we're going to do that. We're going to do that. I'm just going to take a minute to going to find an art stream to host here real fast. Who we got? There's a lot of people streaming. Oh, so 3D printing doesn't count. That don't count. Let's see. Draw stream. What's this guy doing? What is he? 18 plus. Get out of here. God, what's wrong with these people? All right. Let's use our filters. Here we go. Who's Stone Art? I don't know. Take a quick little look. All right. This could be interesting. Yeah. All right. Yeah, okay, we're going to drop you off with who I've never heard, Stone Art Live. Apparently they're official stream for Salt Air Studios game development. Never heard of them. Never heard of them. Man, they got a lot of, they're going crazy with their StreamYard notifications. Good lord. All right, yeah, okay, that'll be fine. All right, we'll and I don't know if they're talking. We'll find out. Maybe it'll be a cool stream, maybe not. I don't know. You guys can let me know. But anyway, thank you for spending some time with us here. Tillable Cat, Rose Morales, Blitzberg, how you doing? You're catching us right as we are leaving Blitzberg. That's okay. We're going to drop you off in a chill art stream here. Like I said, we'll be back later tonight, 6 p.m. Pacific. 6 p.m. Pacific, we're going to be kicking off with Batman, The Enemy Within, Episode 2. And then into, because that's an 18-plus game, or rating, rather. We're probably into some Gears, maybe. It'll be 18-plus games the rest of the night. Just got to keep. I'm trying to keep the ratings straight and consistent all the way through. Gamer D, good to see you again. Thank you for popping in. Jelly Buns, thank you for that, host. That's very kind. Let's do a quick little roll credits. We'll see who's all been with us today. But I would like to mention this is highly inaccurate. Highly inaccurate. Apart from that bit at the top, but when it says you are the best, that is quite true. That is quite true. Everything else, though, is highly, because especially the sticker count, that's really weird. Well, Rose has been talking up a storm. Orgon, Tillable Cat, Gotham Gotcha was here. We gave him a shout out. Halo Collector, he's got all the deep info. Agent 1, Stating Medusa. That was good to see Stating Medusa, and yes, I think she's trying to find her hubby down hiding in the basement. in their little in his hidey hole, getting ready for the apocalypse. There we go, a bunch of stickers. And so, yeah, so there were definitely many more than the 4 King Carrington stickers thrown down. I know that for a fact, but yet here we are. Here we are. I don't know why it doesn't count them. Oh, we only got 1 new follow from Mr. Toast Ghost. Unless that's wrong as well. I thought we got yeah, wow, it's a bit of a slow day on the old follow front. That's okay though. That's okay. Very nice, very nice. But anyway, it's been a pleasure to have all of you here. All of you here. Have a great night. I'm going to throw this over to Stone Art. We're going to see what they're all about. I have no idea who this is, but they seem to be working on some kind of video game doing pixel art stuff, so it could be cool. Could be a lot of fun. Hope we'll have fun with it. If they're cool, good night, Legia Zone. We'll see you later. See you later. Yeah, if they're cool, let me know. If they suck, let me know. Well, I don't know. We're going in blind. Trying to find new creative art streams here. Let's do it. Let's do it. Catch you later there, Blitzbird.